Wow. Okay. So in the Sanskrit language, Devanagari, Deva means God, and so it's the language of the gods. So it's a very ancient language, and on the Devanagari alphabet in your manual, I wanted to point out here, there's 50 letters in the Sanskrit and 50 petals on your chakras. So this is just a sample chakra here, and I'll hold it up here. And you can see on the 4 petals that there are Sanskrit letters. So on every petal of the chakras, there is one of those 50 letters of the alphabet. And so all of the vowels are under the Shuddhi chakra, the throat chakra. So on your page, this one, page 44, or I've already forgotten 50 something. Okay, 54, 55. All of the vowels are related to the Shuddhi chakra. So all the petals of the Vishuddhi chakra yantra have those Sanskrit letters on it. Okay, so here I've colored it, and I put that the color of the Vishuddhi chakra there. And then when we move into the consonants, then from ka, the first one, all the way to tha dot under ta, those ones are on the heart chakra petals. So from ka to ta, those are all on the heart chakra, 12 petals and 12 Sanskrit letters. To me, this is fascinating. You know, you don't need to necessarily, and if you want, you can take a picture of this after with the colors, and then, you know, you can color your own after if you want. And then from the ya dot under all the way to tha pa, that's related to the Manipura chakra. Okay, so all of that. Each one is on the petals of the Manipura. And then from ba all the way to na, that's under Svadhisthana chakra. So, and then from ba to sa, that's 4, that's your Muladhara chakra. 1, 4. And then ka and sha. So on your sheet, sha is almost directly under ha. It's a little bit of an angle below it. Okay, so here I've got it circled. That's what's on the Ajna chakra. Okay, so the 2, ha and sha. And ksha is a special character. Ksham or kshama means patience. I mean, that's kind of cool that it's up here, patience. So ksha is a special letter, and so it's not even sung in the Sanskrit alphabet per se. Now you have 3 other letters at the bottom of that page, and I wanted to point those 3 out. Those are alternate ways of writing. And na dot under and JHA. So you already have those in the alphabet. They're just an alternate way of writing them. So I didn't want you to be confused about where's the 50 letters. Okay. So when you look at chakra plates, and you know, I had my chakra plates out and I must not have brought them. But anyway, it doesn't matter if you Google the chakras, you'll see the letters on them. And so you can take a felt pen or highlighters. I used highlighters of various colors, and then just identified by the chakra colors which letters were on that on the chakras. And you are? Hi, Karen. Oh. Oh, okay. Okay, well, hopefully they will find their own way. Okay, so what is said is that when we speak in Sanskrit, this very old ancient language, is that it vibrates the chakras, right? So when we chant, when we say the Sanskrit language, because the Sanskrit language is considered a holy language. It's not an everyday speaking language per se, but and there's variations in the many languages. Oh, there's another vehicle coming up, so that's a good sign. There's variations, and I forget what Dr. Ananda said. There's something between 40 and 50 different languages in India. So, but they all use a script as well. So this is the Devanagari script, but there are other scripts in Sanskrit, like the Tibetan. So if some of you have tinkshas, I don't know, here we have the singing bowl. So this on the singing bowl is also a Sanskrit script. And most of the time it's Ranjana. I don't know if this is Ranjana, but and so often with the Tibetan Sanskrit, it's different. It looks different. Mani Padme Hum is always written on the tingshas on the inside, and so this language is, yeah. So that's on there, and it looks a little bit different. So the most common one that we use in the yoga pathway of this is the Devanagari. So what I feel is if you understand the language, and some of you, this is your second time through Sanskrit because you've done it in the 200 hour, and some of you have already done it in the 300 hour, so now this is the third time through. But it helps to clarify the pronunciation for you and the understanding of the words. And once you get the pronunciation, and I have a little whiteboard here, then we can play with the writing of it, and it begins to really, for me, it unfolds. So I understand more and more of the language. When you go and you buy a cloth and it has Sanskrit writing on it, you can begin to translate it, right? You can begin to understand what the words are. So I have a couple of favorite books in Sanskrit. This one is The Language of Yoga by Nikolai Bachman. And one of the reasons I like it is it's a very useful book. It has lots of little yogis in it, and the names of the asanas, and the breakdown of the words, what they mean. So it's all alphabetical, so it's great if you want to, what's the word of that asana, or I want to find it, what that asana means, and so it's all alphabetical. Plus, he has 2 CDs, or DVDs, CDs, in the back of the book, or I can send you a link. You can actually download for free now the recordings, and it's everything that's in the book from front to back cover. So you can plug the DVD in or download it to your iPod and start practicing how to say the asana names in the correct way. And so, you know, if you hear it enough times, then it just begins to sink in. So he also has the script that helps write each one of the poses there, although it is very tiny. So for every word, he's written it in the Sanskrit script, and he's broken down what it means. So for example, Bhujangasana is serpent posture, right? So he gives you the meaning of it. Chakra Bandhasana, wheel walk posture. Chakra is a wheel. So he gives you what it means. So then you begin to understand what they're saying. So each of the Sanskrit names for the asanas, Dr. Ananda would say it's for a reason. One is to be able to embody that pose. So if it's a wheel, become that wheel, right? Like feel your body become that wheel. If it's Nataraj asana, Nataraj is the cosmic dancer, not just a dancer, he's the cosmic dancer, right? So become that cosmic dancer as you go into the pose, whether it's this one or this one. So to embody the essence behind the name. And so I really value that. And tomorrow we'll be doing a class in the Yitananda system of yoga. So we'll be embodying the poses, the names of them. Hi. The other book that's a favorite of mine is Sacred Sanskrit Words, and I have all my sticky notes. But what I like about this one is that the writing in it is really big, so it's much easier to be able to practice writing in the Sanskrit and to see the details, and also what all these words can be great meanings that you have in class. So you can, bring in some of the definitions of these words. So, what is Hatha Yoga? What is chakra? And so you can just use the book for the reading. What is Ananda? And so in the book, there's the diacritical marks. And the diacritical marks are three kinds of marks. Where there's an accent or a dot under. And I'm just as guilty as everyone. In my book, I didn't put in the diacritical marks. Mostly because I didn't have the computer keyboard to be able to do that. It would take a long time. But myself personally, when a book and both of these have the diacritical marks, it makes a big difference to know what letter. If you look here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 tas, right? And 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4 das. And we've got 2 tas, das, chas, we've got 3 s's. And so without those diacritical marks, you don't know how to write it, right? So the diacritical marks become very important. And so this particular book is really great to be able to see exactly that. And so is the other one, except the printed sign. Okay, so any questions? I haven't muted you on there. You, I think, muted yourself. So if you have any questions, just speak up. Any here so far? Questions or? No, okay. Okay, so I will assure you that there is no Sanskrit writing on the exam. There was when I did my exam with Swami Vishnudevananda. He would give a sutra in English, and we'd have to translate it into Sanskrit. So it was a challenge. It was quite a bit of that, and I'm grateful for that now because I really love the language. I think it is such a special, beautiful language. So a couple of points again in this language of yoga book that I really like is Nikolai Bachman refers to some of the differences between Sanskrit and Hindi. And I know that some of you, so that's on page 3 in this book, some of you have done satsang with Hirdaya, right? Over the net. She's in India, and so she's reading that. And you'll notice that she calls Shiva Shiv, right? And so in Sanskrit, when you write out a word, all of the sounds are pronounced. But in Hindi, they're not. So if it's it'll make a little bit more sense as we go deeper into this. But if a word ends like Shiva with a short A, they drop the A and it becomes Shiv. So that's why sometimes you'll hear words like Bhujangasana as opposed to Bhujangasana. So Bhujangasana would be the Sanskrit pronunciation for it, but Bhujangasana would more be Hindi. They drop the short A. If it has a long A at the end of it, then it would have a short A in Hindi. So just know that in the Sanskrit, if there's an A on the end of it, we say the A on the end of it. And there's a specific way to take that vowel off the end of the word, and I'll show you how to do that. Another thing is that PH is never an F sound. There's no F sound in Sanskrit, but there is in Hindi. So listening to Dr. Ananda. Dr. Ananda is Swami Geetananda's son, and he came and led our retreat a couple of years ago, and I still take workshops with him. It's so great online right now. But anyway, when you were studying the doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, it's Kapha in Sanskrit because there's no F. It could be Kapha in Hindi. I'm not sure because I don't speak Hindi, but it's Kapha. And so sometimes the plank pose is called Palakasana, but I've heard people call it Salakasana because it's a PH. But in our language, we have a S for PH. But no, there's lots of letters with H in it, and that means to aspirate it. So it has a P, right? Duh. And so it gets the sound in the word. So there's no F. Is there any other one that's, oh, yes. There's no W in Sanskrit. So we'll see a lot of W written like Saraswati with a W or Satwa, but it's a V in Sanskrit. V. But it's a soft V like Saraswati. Right? So you may not even be able to tell the difference, Saraswati, but it's the V. So if you ever see a W in the transliteration, you know that it's a V. You pick the V off the chart for that because you won't find a W. So those are some of the key differences in the Sanskrit to the Hindi, and I'm sure with the other languages there's a lot. So, okay, on page, let me find the page. And please, at any time, interrupt or yell so I hear you. If you have a question, if you're wondering, well, if there's nothing on the exam about this, why do I need to know it? Because I really feel it will awaken the language for you. That's my hope anyway, that the language is amazing, and as yoga teachers, I feel that understanding Sanskrit, the root of it, the root of this beautiful yoga path, I think it's very, very important to understand that. And I hope it will make it easier for you. So on page 43, which is going to be somewhere around 50, it's right on the other side of the yogi that says Sanskrit. 53, okay, we're all about 10 pages apart. I just have some basic pronunciation information on here. And so it looks like that, and it just has. So A is always up. Okay, so asana, pranayama, right? It's not asana, it's asana, it's not in sofa. Right? And every one of these has a long and a short vowel. So the line over means that it's held twice as long. Sometimes it's written like A, but it's A line over means it's held twice as long. And I is always E, like Ida and Pingala. It's an E sound, right? It's not Ida, it's And then U is never this Canadian U sound. It's U, right? U. Upanishad, Upavishta, Konasana, right? Purdva. So it's not the U sound, the sound that we would make. The R's are kind of rolled. So the R, get that little tongue up there at the top. Krishna. A bit of a roll in there. E is like A, like ring. E is like A. Okay. And I, which is spelled A-I, is like an I sound. I, like aisle. O, as in opal. O, it's just the O word. Au is A-U, like Gautama Buddha, Au. And M dot under, has a nasally sound to it. So, like bon in French, bon, gets a bit of a nasal sound to it. And H dot under is a sound like namaha, namaha. Right? So you've got a ha as a consonant, but you will also have the ma, which is like called the visarga, like Om Namah Shivaya, has that aspiration to it. So that's just some general rules of the sound of it. So I thought we could just start to go through the language and start with the vowels and the pronunciation for them. And then we'll go through the consonants. I'll answer any questions on that and we'll go through the consonants. So again, your vowels are on page 44 or 54, depending on your manual. All right, so and you can say it after me. Okay, so it's just held quite long. E, U, U. So here's where we get a little bit of fun, and I'm not great at it. Re. And now we've got an L in there, so get that tongue up there. And then this one has a line through it. I'm not sure you can see it, those of you on the iPad or on Zoom, but in your manual, it has it there and it says that it's rarely used today. It's got a comment there. But it is on one of the chapter pedals. So even though it's not used, it's in the alphabet. So this is twice as long. Agree. A, I, O, ow, ah. So those are the vowels. So if there's 50 letters in the Sanskrit alphabet, and we have, I believe, 27, I'm embarrassing, maybe 26 or 27. But anyway, there's a lot more sounds in the Sanskrit one. And so these are just our vowel sounds, and these are how they are written. So let's just go through them again once more. You can just repeat after me. So, e, u, maybe, ri, a, I, o, ow, right. So I'm sure if a Sanskrit scholar was hearing me, they would go, oh, goodness. But it's the best I can do. And so when we learn a language when we're younger, we learn all these little receptors in our how to make these curls with our tongue, etc. And as we get older, it's not as easy to do. So we do the best we can, and hopefully people will understand. All right, so now going into the consonants, that you can repeat after me, and I'll hold a little bit slower. You can see we have 4 N's. So on your page 44 or 54, under the consonant, on the left-hand side, there's 4 N's going down. So a lot of these letters, 4 T's, 4 D's, 4 N's, 3 S's, you know, and mostly 2 of the others. So the subtlety we're not necessarily going to be able to say, but we'll know a little bit more about it. Okay, so ka, ka. So you get that H in there, that aspirated sound. Ka. Okay, and K is always that ka sound, as opposed to C, which is always cha cha cha, right? So C is never a K. So ka, ka. Da, ka. And now this N with a dot above it, when you say the word ink, look where your tongue goes, up into the top. Ink. So that, no, press your tongue up into the top. No. Okay? When I say no one would sound like that. Okay, so cha, 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 cha. So when we have the word chakra, sometimes it's just written CA because it's understood that there's an H sound there. Chakra is always cha cha cha. It's never chakra because we already have 3 S's. We don't need a 4th one. So when you're saying chakra, remember to put that little cha 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 in there. And then this is this one with the 2 H's in it means that it's really asking. Cha, 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 ja, ja. And then this one with the O is like canyon, yeah, yeah. Right, so it's like yeah, yeah. Yeah. Right. So this row with the dot under, if you take your tongue and put it up into the palate, da, 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 right? So that da makes it up into the palate. So ta, ta. So this is the hatha yoga. That's hatha yoga. Ta, da, da, na. Okay, so those ones all there. But the other thing is when you see a TH, it's never the sound of the. It's always ta. Okay? It's always as. It's never a fast. And then these ones are just like we would normally say. Ta. Ta. Da. Da. Na. Okay, so those are pretty normal. Like this one, I think we have an example in there. If we say warthog, warthog, but 2 ways to make that talk. Okay. All right. Ha. 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 Is your attitude, right? Ha. Is just full of really loving attitude. Ma. La. 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 Okay, so these ones, there's only one of them, right? There's not another one. And you'll notice la is like lum is the mantra for the Mular chakra. And bum for Sadhusthana, and bum for Manipura, and yum for Anahata. Ha is the then now we have like 3 S's. And so when you see an S written with the accent there, it's in the tongue is more back in the mouth. So like if you said pet shop, you can feel almost like the SH is made for the back, pet shop, right? So for me, it feels more like the tongue is back by the sides of the teeth here, but they say it's really back. And then this S dot under, or sometimes it's getting SH, S dot under, it's a diacritic mark. And then this SH is more up at the front, like Sean, right? It's more up at the front of the mouth. If you just know it's an SH sound, then that will be close enough, basically. And I've started making a list of SH words and then putting the diacritical mark. So I know if it's an S or an SH, like sushumna, right? I need the diacritical mark to know whether it's a SH or just an F. So these two are an SH sound, and then this one is regular F like style. So, right? Like style. Okay. This is sha, sha, sa. Sha, sha, sa. Ha. And then this one is really hard. We all forget sha. We don't say that. Sha, but we do on the okay, so let's go through those again for sound. And you can just repeat that. And I'll do my best. Ka, ka, ga, ga, nya, nya, cha, cha, ja, cha, nya. Tongue up in the palate. Ta, cha, ga, ga, nya. Ta, ta, da, 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 ha, ha, da, da, ma, ya, ya, da, da, sha, sha, sa, ha. That's your Sanskrit alphabet. Yes.
So going back to the long, to my ear, that sounds more like our Yiddish sound, like So when you're pronouncing it,
Lum. So this is where we can run into some problems, which is when it's great to know the Sanskrit, because particularly one that we see often is like so, when really in Sanskrit it's spelled so, H-A-M, but it sounds like hum, so people write it like that. But if you were saying, and I said it wrong for years, Om Mani Padme Hum, because it's really this, right? And so if you wrote it that way, people say Om Mani Padme Hum, but it's Om Mani Padme Hum. And really in it it's Hum with that end dot under in there. So you need to be careful that we're getting it with the right letters. So all those key bija mantras like Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, you might see it spelled G-U-M, but it's G-A-M, Gam, right? Gam, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And that's exactly the kind of question that made me feel good, because then when you look at it, you'll be able to go and look at the actual letter in the Sanskrit and say, oh, That's hum, right? And so that's what we want to be able to get to with it, that we can actually check it out for ourselves so we know we're putting the right Sanskrit everywhere. So thank you for asking that. Okay. All right. So in the language of yoga, in the link, I will remember to send it to you. It's on Sounds True. And you can just download these. He goes through the whole alphabet. I think it might be the last cut on the second, on the second CD, and he sings it. So, right? And so you can practice the alphabet on that as well and really get those sounds. All right, any other questions on the alphabet? Yes. Oh, yeah, I know. So the question is the differences in the N sound. So this one with the N dot over is like ink. So your tongue presses up like nya, but it's not quite as sassy as the one below with the curly accent, which is nya. Okay, nya. So Jnana yoga has that accent. And then the end on under, you're going to put your tongue up into the upper palate, where the normal end, feel where your tongue goes, it just goes behind the teeth there on the palate. Na, right? So na, na, nya, nya, nya. So, and honestly, like, as long as it's an N for the most part, this one is the one that you know the most. So N with the curly. Okay. For those of you who are on the Zoom call, I can email, and I'll email it to Natasha and she can share it with all of you. But I took pictures of the charts, and I also put the colors where the petals belong to the chakras. And so then you can have the larger charts bigger. And I know you have it in the book, but it's a little hard to see it from here. Okay, so more questions? Nobody's falling asleep yet? Okay. I'll just go over one more thing, and then if you want to have a little stand-up break or whatever, watch something before I get into this part, you can take a little break. All right. In your Sanskrit, on page 45 or 55, we have some rules, okay? And when I first looked at the rules, I mean, I don't remember the Sanskrit teacher or scholar telling us these rules, and it was just all going in. I was 22 at the time, but when I read these rules, as I delved deeper into Sanskrit, I had to ponder them. So the first rule is essentially, if you were going to write Sanskrit, if the word was asana, okay, you could, all those are straight off the board. So you could simply keep these letters off the board. Asana. So it's a long A. Okay, so it's asana as opposed to asana. If it was asana, there would be a long A in the middle. Here. So we could just pick this letter right off the board. And then it's a regular sa sound. It's not an SH, right? So we can write sa. and then it's a regular N sound of there's no diacritical mark there. And so you just pick those letters right off the board. Okay? And then that's how you write up. Okay. So the second rule, and on your page 45 or 55, the last character at the bottom has a little line on it. And that takes the sound away. Okay, so it's called the halanta. So if we really wanted to write this as a san, if we didn't want to do that, we would put that mark there. And that takes the A off. And that's called the halanta. So let's say if we wanted to write okay, so tap, like tap from a C, right? So you take a regular top, so there's a regular top here, and then you've got to write ta again, but then you take that A off with that line at the end, so that becomes ta. Otherwise, it would be ta-ta. Okay, and so that's called the halanta, and that's rule number 2. Otherwise, every one of these consonants has an A sound, the ah sound following it, every single one of them. So in our English language, we have K and L and M and G. So our consonants have different sounds, right? But these are all ka, ga, ma, ra, la, okay, unless you change it. Okay, so you can take the A sound off with the halanta, or otherwise, it's always an ah sound. So this is a good time if we want to just stretch our legs, take a 10-minute break or whatever. Before we go into how to change these letters to all the other vowel sounds. So how would we write then a word like so-hum? It's not sa-hum, it's so-hum, right? Or how would we write Ganesha, right? Because there's an E in there, Ganesha, or Lakshmi. How do we make the different vowel sounds? And that's what this is the code for. And so let's take a little break before we get there. Okay. I'm going to pause it, the recording. And we'll be back. Okay, so coming back for the next phase of the Sanskrit. Before we go into contracted vowels, I thought we could just play a little bit more with some of the words that just can pick the letters right off the board here before we get into the complexity of changing the vowel sounds on them. And so I thought I could pick some of the words that you use in, for those of you with the 300 hour, you have a little worksheet to practice with. I don't know if any of you did any of those, but this is like just the straight up, you can pick the letters off the board. So one word that we use is eka. It means one. Like ekapada, 1 foot, right? Ekapada. Because it's all, you can just pick them off here. Okay, so where do we find the vowel A, right? So it's right here on your vowel sheet. And so you can just write the A. Okay. And then ka. So you go back to ka. Okay. And this line up above, sometimes a whole sentence is just one solid line, but oftentimes it breaks it into words, right? So this would be a word. Okay, and then pada. Okay, so you take your pa and your regular da doesn't have to be like fancy C. Take a pada, one foot or one leg. So it becomes like a little code to decipher. And then another word that we use is Laya yoga, right? Bill Phillips would teach us Laya yoga kriyas. In your manual under the lesson plan, I've got 3 yoga nidras. One is a Laya yoga kriya from Bill Phillips. So Laya. So when it sounds like L-I, but Laya, when you bring it into the Y, it kind of changes that sound like Laya. So you get your La. And Ya. So we hear Ya. Like this fancy Y. Maya. Okay. So you can just pick these off the page. So those are on in your manual. What page do I have those on? And you can start filling them in. For the people in the 300 hour. Page 49. Okay. There's a word we use all the time in our chanting. Oh, I think I can get it there. Oops, I better just touch there so I can do Namaha. Okay. Na, ma, ha. Okay. So Namaha, I just want to check and make sure there's no diacritical marks. Okay, on this one in yours, it has the H dot under. So that is Namah. Okay. So it's a regular N, which you get from down here. Okay. And then the Ma. And you look here, the Ba, and Ma are very close. The only thing is there's a break in the line. So that's important to make sure you know. So this is Ma, Nama, and then H dot under is this Visarga. So it's written with, you can just write it with the colon, and that says Namaha. Okay? Namaha, H dot under. This is Ah. Okay? Or Nama, I'm sorry, Nama. There's no, if we wanted to make it, I'll do it in a different color. Namaha, which we said. So Om Namah Shivaya. That's where this one would come in. Om Namah Shivaya. But if you wanted it Namaha, then we would write it Nama. And then we've got this, I think it's a lovely, lovely letter. Ha. I just think it's so beautiful. There we go. Namaha. Okay? So that's namaha. This is H dot under, which is namah. All right. So then with rule number 2, everybody's good? Nobody's lost yet? No? Okay. Because it's becoming Greek for you. I want to turn it into Sanskrit. All right. So when we use that halanta, aham, remember aham brahmasmi, right? Aham. It means I am, just like soham means I am that. Aham brahmasmi means I am Brahman, or I'm one with Brahman. And so there's no A on the end. So we use that halanta. Okay? And so if we go there's no long. So this is your very first vowel. And the line starts here, not over top. And then your ha. And then your ma. And then we take the A off. Aham. 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 Okay? Okay. Something before we get to this, I wanted to mention, I think this is so amazing. When we look at Om, okay? This is a special character. And so we've got, it's A-U-M. Okay? That's how Om is broken down into letters. So you've got your A, right? And then you've got, it becomes a U, A-U, and so this is what this is bringing in. And then this anuspara is the dot, okay? The Om. So A-U-M, and this is like the line here, but it becomes a special character. And A-U-M equals Om. And I learned this from Dr. Ananda because I would always get confused when, for example, Parshva Konasana, side angle pose, right? Parshva is side, right? Parshva Konasana. And then Parsvottanasana, right? So why did Parshva become Parsvo? All right, and I want to explain that to you because then when it happens, you'll understand it. So A plus U equals O. Okay, and that's how Om, A-U-M becomes Om. So if you have Parshva Uttanasana, which is the two words, Uttanasana, see, the A and the U become O, and it becomes Parshvo Uttanasana. I think that's really good to know so that you understand that it's still sideways for its ease of the language, ease of the sound, so Parshvo Uttanasana. Okay, now always need to look these up. Which S is it on Parshvo? That's one of the reasons I just love this book because it explains those things. C-A-R-S, Parshva. Okay, so it's this one, Parshva. Parshvottanasana, Parshva Uttanasana, right? So if it was, let's say, Uttana, Asana, come off my edge there, Asana, we have two A's here, right? So two A's become a long A. Uttan, Asana. You don't have to write A twice. Uttanasana. Uttana, Asana. Makes one long A. So two A's equal A with the line over top. Two O's equal O with the line over top, right? Two I's equal I with the line over top. It's held twice as long. And so that's kind of the shorthand of it. So that's, often people ask, well, why is it A-U-M and how does it become O? Because A plus U together equal M. And that will happen in any A's and U's together. Parshva Uttanasana becomes Parshvottanasana. Okay? All right. So now we're going to dive into the fun. This page in your sheet is not in color. So it's going to be 45 or 55. And so these marks I highlighted in yellow. But I would recommend, well, I'm going to email you that sheet anyway, but I would recommend if you want to take a picture of this, anything in the red is the line that changes the vowel sound on the letter. So that's your code breaker there for turning an A into a U or whatever sound we need. Okay, so sometimes I have people want to know how to write certain things so they can get a tattoo. So you want to make sure you get it right. And so there is a website there for Sanskrit tattoos now, which is great, but I still like to check it. What are we really saying? Because I have mistakes in here too that I find, and so I have to be careful of that. Okay. So we know how to use the anusvara with an M dot under sound, then it's be aligned with the dot will come up more. The sarga is the colon, and the kalanta takes the vowel off the end of the word. So we have some other words that we use often, and if there's anything that you want to make sure that I touch on, but let's just look at the word yoga. Okay, because we use that word a lot. Yoga. So if anybody wants to come up and try and write these with me, then that would be super awesome. And you can get your hands into it. Now sanitize these. I brought my own bottle of sanitizer here so we can sanitize. So we would start with ya. There's no other place to start, right? So you start with ya. And now we have to turn the A into an O. So this is your critical part. So it's a short O. And so I use ka all the way through this. So if you think of my alphabet, E, A, I, O, L, I put that into here with ka. and or you can do the up, but I couldn't. But that's how you change the sound on that. So I want to change it to an O. In order to change that to an O, I take my line like this. Okay. That's what I need to add. This is what's added, and it's added on the right side of the letter. So now that ya became yo. Okay? And then we have the ga. It's just a regular ga. So this is how you write ga. Yoga. Okay? Making sense? Right? And if we wanted to write that one, we won't quite get there for Bhakti. But how about we'll write Raja Yoga? Okay. So Raja as a long A, yoga. Anybody want to write it? So shy. Come on and try here. All right, so you'll start with Ra. So that's over here. Yeah. Don't worry about that. We'll get that next. We'll start with the Ra. Got it? Okay, now to make your long A, you add a line to the right, just a line. Yeah. No. And then ja. So it's a regular ja.
So
Yep. Cool. Yeah. And then if you want to write your yoga for practice. Raja Yoga. So I would put a little more curve in this because otherwise it looks like a no, like this one's quite pointed. So almost like yeah, there you go. Yoga. Got it. Awesome. Raja Yoga.
she gave me the answer.
This is all that it is though. It's just looking at the codes here. So this is such a critical chart to open it up for you, right? So that we can go into the differences of how they are said. So what about Veda, right? The Vedas. Veda. There's 4 Vedas, right? And so how would we write Veda? Anybody want to try? Okay, come on, great. I'm just gonna go get a white. I have an idea, I just look back and tell me. Where's the light? Okay. I think that I want to start with a thought and then change.
Just made
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. That's a fun thought. Yeah. Okay. So you start with your va. That's great.
Okay.
Okay. And so now you want to turn it into an E. Yeah. So I'm going to put just a little line on top. Yeah. Now da. And it's a regular da, there's no dot under. Okay? Yeah.
Should that come all the way down?
That's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It should come down. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, when you think, you're welcome. When you think of how we write, right? Not everybody writes the same way, right? Like sometimes you can't read somebody's writing, but they're doing the same letter. So we just want to make sure that it's legible to a degree, but everybody will write it in their own way. Even in your book, on the Devanagari alphabet page, the way they did the long A, like it's like a little hat over it, whereas normally it's just a straight line. So that was their font that they chose to use. Okay, so we're getting the idea here. That's okay if I erase these. And if you get lost, the question doesn't really bring it out and help us to understand. So if we take the word bija, okay, bija mantra, right? A bija mantra, and we look at those. The bija mantras for the chakras, right? Let's take for the root chakra, it would be lam. Okay, so we'll write both of these. So does anyone want to write bija? No? Sure. Okay, all right, good, come on. You'll be next, Shauna.
Oh, were you coming up, Don?
That's okay, you're here. You're closer, let's go. Okay. Yeah, so let's start with ba, and it's not a BHA, it's just a ba. Regular. You start with your line over top. Whenever you want, you can start with it over top or later at it. And just circle with a line through it. And it goes left to right. Yeah, that's right. So now, how do we change it to a long I? So we look at a long I, and then I just put it in red so you could tell what was the additional. You've got to have that. Oh, no, that's not where we are. Oh, I'm looking. What you've got the better. What we want is this part. So instead of no, sorry, that's good. Yeah. Okay, now we know that this is B, and then you take your jaw. So you just extend this one. That's it. You got it. You want to wipe it up. And that's it. Okay. Did you want to write la? Sure. Okay. So we'll write la. So you do la. And I would like some books just make it one long sentence, but they can also be broken. Yeah, that's okay. And now, with the end on it, all you need to do is put a dot over the top. That's it. Just going back, yeah, yeah. And you'll find that some letters are very common and they're used a lot, and then other ones are rarely used, so you always have to look them up. But this is how you write lam, right? So when you look at the chakra plates, I can't believe they didn't sneak it into my bag, but this in this lam for Muladhara chakra, it's got the la and then the dots over top. And that's the M sound at the end of it. Lam, lam. And that's supposed to be rather nasally, Dr. Ananda says, for the effect of that. Okay. All right, so B, ja, lam. Right. Okay, good. Okay, if you're going to separate the words, you can separate the words. Otherwise, it's like a sentence. Okay, and usually a sentence ends with, I think I have it, just this line at the end that says, like, that's the end of the sentence. Okay? And so the thing about Sanskrit is it is a little bit like the Latin languages like Spanish and French, but the words don't necessarily go in the same order as we say them in English, right? So pronouns or whatever else. So like a Yoga Sutra is just one long line. As you get to identify the words, then you'll know that's the word, that's the word, that's the word. Yeah, and so things like this little connection it's really important, you know, that's why it's connecting to say that line belongs to that, right? So this would mean, okay, that's a long line. Now this long so those marks are really, they play a big role in just telling you where everything is in that. Okay, so another word that, yes. Okay, good. Well, with Veda, so this was the Va, and we turned it into an E. So we turn it into an E, you just have the line there, right? Okay, but Veda, this is a long I that we're changing the Va to. Yeah, VA. So I always start with the main consonant and then change it to the correct vowel. So this was the Va here. This would have been no, I'm just converting it. By adding this, it now becomes a long I. Okay? And by adding this Va became a Veda, an E, Veda. Does it make sense? Okay. Well, let's try another one. Okay. How can I'm going to do it in color, living color. Okay. So this line right there, just that line, turns Va into V. That's all that did. And on this one, this turns Va. Pardon me? Well, you're on to something, Bill. Because if you look at how you make a long A, you add an extra line, right? And so that's how you make a long A here. So when we get into the conjunct consonants, you're actually going to be dropping part of the lines for the letters. So that'll be the next phase. So you're smarter than you think right now. Okay, so that's good. All right, any other questions on that? Are we okay? Like, I really don't want you to be falling asleep on me here. So Shauna's up next. And we're gonna do the word samadhi. All right. So I'll see my diacritical mark. So sa, ma, long, and then V-H-I. Okay. Well, you know what? I'll tell you, there's a great, I think it's at the very top of your Sanskrit chapter. Is it there? Sorry, Shauna. That's yeah, on the top of page 42 or 53. And there's a dictionary, and it's the one that ends in DE. So spoken Sanskrit.de. That's a fabulous, fabulous site. And so you can put in a word like grief, and it'll give you the adjectives, nouns, everything in Sanskrit, what grief would be, and plus we'll write the script. So if you wrote samadhi, it would give you the diacritical mark and how to write. Yeah. So it's a great one for translating back and forth. But the other thing is you can just Google, now it's so great, samadhi in Sanskrit, and then it'll come up with how it's written. Okay, so here we go. And it's a regular S sound, so there's no SH on that one. Now you go with ma. And then you make it a long A, so you've got to have the line. Yeah. And so it's a regular and then you'll change it to an I after. So you want to leave that space. Okay. And remember on this as well that there's a break in the line. Okay. But no, it's a short. Yeah. So if there's a break in the line, do I still make it right over? Do I still make it connect to this one? Yeah. Or you'll connect it there. There you go. Samadhi. Okay. Okay, it came from the PHA. So you always have to start. Yeah, you'll have to start with the consonant that always is in A, and then you change it to the I. So this is the line here that changed that PHA to PHI. And this line here made the long A. Ma. So she wrote ma and then the line and then like this long. Does that make sense? Anybody lost? Okay. Samadhi. Okay. How many of you have been to India? And you're going in the shops and they have these beautiful cloths with all the mantras written on them, and I want one that says Om Namah Shivaya, or I want one that is the Gayatri on it, right? And so pretty soon you're able to actually say, oh, this one's the dietary, this one's this. And you can understand them. Or you can begin, all the road sounds are written in Hindi, which is a similar script. And you would be able to begin to decipher them. Okay. Are we, the reason I'm asking if we're okay with this is because I want to bring in 2 more twists. Okay. And so if we look at R's, so there's a Ra, right? Ra. If we're writing the mantra Ram, 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 right, for Manipur Chakra, we just have the dot over it. That makes it Ram because of the Anuswara. Okay? All right, so that's Ram. All right. So if we wanted to write karma, this is where it gets a little more complex, and that's why I wanted to explain this. And I have it for you on page, I think it's on page 46, if I can find it. There we are. Okay, page 46 or 56. All right. So ours are different because this isn't karama, right? It's karma. Okay, so the A isn't in here. And the other word I want to use for an example is prana. Okay. And I just want to check how prana and dot under. And there's no long ones. Okay. All right. So this is on rule number 5A, that when the R precedes the consonant, okay, so it's preceding that, then it's written like a little tiny R above. So you start with the ka, and you have the ma, and the R is written like that on the end of the ma. Okay, so R's are a bit strange. If it's a straight up R that's used, that's great, but these ones aren't. Okay, so this is your R, so that's karma. Now, when the R is following the consonant, so in this case it's following the P, you start with the pa, right, so the pa. And then the R is written like that, as kra. And then this is an N dot under. So this is the N use. So this is prana. That's your R. We're right smack in the middle of the word, you know. So pranayama is actually written, the pra is written like that, right? So that's the main thing, when the R precedes the consonant or when it follows the consonant. That's the 2 different ways of writing it. And so it does come up like the word Prithvi. Okay, so if we write E-R-R, no, this one's going to be different. Because that's that R. It's going to be totally different. I'm not going to use that one yet. Because that's the re, right? I'll do that one after. But let's find Surya. S-U-R-Y-A. Does that have, yeah, long U? Okay. Surya. So the R precedes the Y. Okay. So we have to start with the sa, then turn it into a long U, then write the ya, and put your R on the end of the ya. Does anybody want to try it? No. All right, I won't force you. Okay, but I don't want to dominate either. So let's take the sa. This sa is used a lot, and this sa is used a lot. This one not as much. Okay, so sa. Now we have to turn it into a long U. So we look at our long U. So you can see the direction of these curves is important in order to indicate a short or a long U. Okay, so that's the long U, smooth, and then ya. And ya goes here. Surya. Surya Namaskar. Okay, your sun. Okay. So if we wanted to write, then, well, that's a good one. Well, pranayama, right? We should write pranayama, and I'm just going to check. I don't have that on there, but I know it's in here. I just want to make sure I get the ends right. Which ends is it? Okay. So there's lots of long ones in it. Can I erase this again? Okay. So I just want to make sure you understand your R's, and then we'll move to the next stage. So prana, ya, ma. And so we've got a long A, and a dot under, and a long A, and a long A. But you don't have to change any of your A's to E's or anything. So pranayama. All right. Anybody want to try? Okay. There you go.
So with this, I'm thinking of starting with the pa, and then I'll have to put the little R on top.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it'll be like a long pa.
A long
So
pa.
make your,
So
yeah.
making sure I get the right pa. So not
Yeah.
that
Yep,
one.
that's the one.
That is the one. Okay.
That's the one, and then we'll add the, we'll make it a
Oh.
long one by adding line. Okay?
Now, does this line connect, or is it supposed to have this way?
No, it connected. It could be my bad writing.
So we're going to do that and make it long by adding that.
Yeah.
And then I want to put the R when I put it.
Well, you're going to put it in here.
Oh, in here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just like that.
because it's not.
It's following the concept.
Okay. So I got that. So now I need the na.
And then now with the end
And
dot
under.
under.
Where's that? Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. End dot under. And now it's a long A again.
Yeah. So then I have to look
Yeah.
here. Put the
Line.
line. Now I need the ya.
Yeah, and the ya. So it's on this, yeah. Good. And it's a long A.
So then I'm going,
Yeah.
and then ma.
And ma.
Fancy four. I like that.
Fancy four, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Look at wow.
Thank you.
Yeah. Exactly. And when you start doing it, like you knew, okay, it's the line to make the long A because you had to do it 3 times in there. So that was awesome. Okay, everybody understand that? Yes.
Yeah, good question. So, noticing that when the R is preceding the accent is on the consonant itself, but if the R is preceding the consonant, the accent is on the end of the word.
The next letter. It's on the next letter. So for karma, it went on the ma. Yeah, if there were more letters, it would still be on the next letter, the ma. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To put it on the very next letter, on the consonant that it was preceding. Yeah. Okay. That was a great question. Okay. So the last part of it is where we get into dropping lines. Okay. So on page 47 or 57, we have what we call conjunct consonants. So this is where we get into rule number 5 complex. And so the conjunct consonants are when letters run together. So one of the, like the pra, that's a special way, the pra, the letters are running together with that. But if we looked at, let's see some that you have on your page for rule number 5. I just want to make sure I got it. Okay, rule number 5. Okay. So if, let's say we're looking at marga. No, that's an R. I'm on the mar. I'm still on the R's here. So I'm just gonna, like bhakti. I'll go to bhakti, like bhakti yoga. Okay. So let me find it in here. B-H, I'm pretty sure we have it. Yeah, there we are. Okay, so B-H-A-K-T-I. So the ba, and there's no diacritical mark. Okay? So the ba is the B, right? It's like the fancy four, except the line. So ba. But we don't have bhakti, it's bhakti. So the K and the T run together. Okay, so if I was going to write it bhakti, so this would be the ka, right? And then the ka, this is the ka, and then the word I, and so it would be like this. All right, but this isn't how it's done because we have to take part of this out. So when I want to connect my K, my ka, to my ta, I just blend it in. Okay, it just gets blended in. So this would be the full ka, and this would be the ka. But now I blended them together to eliminate the ah sound. So it becomes bhakta. Or then, if you want to make it the bhakti, now this line has to go over here because these two are blended together. right? I'll try and make it easier, but, okay, so this K-A, ka is written like this, and ta, is written like this, but K-T-A would be written with a partial ka running into the ka. Okay? So they're blended as opposed to standing alone. And then if I want to make it into an I, now this is one letter together. And so for my I, I'm going to do this line here. So now it goes all the way over here, because this is now one letter, K-T-I. So if I wanted to make ta into T, I would be doing it like this. But this is K-T-I, so now I have to do it on the whole other side of the K. Bhakti.
So I don't know if we would ever have a word that would be B-T.
B-T?
B-T-I.
B-T-I.
So V and K look very similar. If you don't have that, how would you connect the two? How would you connect the B to the T-I? Because it looks similar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So let's see if I can find
I don't know if there
Ba,
would be a word like that,
Ba. Do we have any of these on this? Like I've given you on here this tiny example of conjunct consonants, but boy, like there are a lot of them. So let's just take a second and try and I want to give you an example that to try and start to make sense of it. I think it'll make a little more sense. So if we had to join ta and ta, and it became T to A. Okay? And I can't think of the word right now, but we can just work with this. So ta is written like that. Okay? And we can assume, as you were talking about, drop a line. To join the two, you take the first part of this, drop the line, take the second ta, and that becomes TTA. So a lot of the times this line represents the A. Okay, so I'm trying to find a word. Well, mantra is another one of those R ones, right? T-R-A. But you've got your N and your T running together, right? So that's a good one. And you're going to have your tra, like ka, okay? And there's a little bit of a special character in there. So I'm going to go with the blue here, just so I don't mess up. Let's see if I can find that word here. And all the words are not in here, but that one happens to be. All right, so you've got your ma, there's no diacritical mark on there. And it's a red N, so we're gonna go with this one, all right? But now we're gonna go into the T, and it's a regular T. This, yeah, so it's got a little bit of a special curve. I'll write it like it would look. So that's the N running into the T, right? And then you put your R in here, right?
maybe like the T would be a T.
Well, you could, this is the R though. But what happens is this gets really messy here, so they actually have a special character for this. So I'll show you what that looks like. Sometimes they just make, it's like the shorthand to make it not quite so challenging. So no, I better take that line out there too. It just shortens it up so it's not as messy. So this is like for the ta, and this is for the r. Okay, and then your n is just kind of connected in there. So this is TRA is a special character. Rather than writing it like this, it's like this. Okay. So that was a good question too. So I don't want it to be too complicated and say, well, no, I can't do it anymore. That's easy when I can just pick them off the chart here. But this is like how we would blend those together. So blending them together is almost always just drop that line, drop this line here, and place them together. And most of the conjunct consonants are like that. Okay? Not all of them, but most of them. So if we had, let's see if another word we've got like shtula, okay, or satya. Satya is a nice word, right? Satya. So they're going to blend in together. Do I have any diacritical marks on this? Let me just check. 178. There we go. Nope, no diacritical marks. Okay, so you've got a regular S, right? Does anybody want to try this one? No? Okay. I'll get you in the blue. Okay, so now you're going to take that line off to run it. Yeah, you got it. That's it. That's it. That's yeah. Well, you don't even need that. Oh, you don't need that.
Great, sorry, that's what you were raised.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Okay, so she has the sa, and then this is the T without the A. Yeah. Does that make sense? So that you broke it down into the yeah. You take this line away and blend it. No, it actually is very intuitive, except for some of those special characters like tra. Because tra is tantra, mantra, yantra. Like tra is used so much that they just made a little special character for it, like the dot over the semicolon, because they're used so much. It's like a little shorthand for it, and then it's not as messy. So I have tra on here. And I don't know if you have it on your pages, but no, we don't have it on your alphabet pages either. Okay. So what would be fun now, just to play, and it changes it completely, but do you think you're kind of getting the idea, or did you want a few more words? Like you could practice on these other ones. We could do a couple more words like this, take a little break, and then we could come back and try to write our names. Okay? And the thing is that your names are in English. Now, if some of you have been given spiritual names, you know, then they're already in the Sanskrit and we could write those too. But your name, then we have to change it to phonetics in order to be able to write it out. Okay? So let's just try a couple more words so that we're kind of getting the math of it. But I think we're getting that. The more we try these difficult things that we can't predict are going to come up with certain names, then it changes. So what about namaste, right? So there's some combining in here. I just want to check for my diacritical marks. I mean, for somebody who's very fluid, they would not need to check, but I don't know which ones are which. Okay, there's no diacritical mark. Straight up, namaste. So is there anyone who would like to write namaste? The divine in me greets the divine in you. Or you'll wait and write your name. Okay. Let's start with na. And then ma. And it's a regular S. It's not an SH sound. An S. So it'd be like STA, but then it will change to an E, right? So we're going to say, how about books on after this one? Okay. Red. Got that. So this first part. And then how do I make my E? Okay, the E, is just this line here. Okay, so we're going to take our ta and turn it into an E. So normally this would have the line down, but we just did the first part of it. Okay. So that line down, some of them don't have it, but lots do, right? So if, I'm trying to think of a word with the vowels blending in, but usually that V is ha, so this is ha, and let's say it was going to blend into the ah. We would remove the line. If it was B, B, that would be like E, B, H, B. Take that part. Okay. All right. More word. It's not white, but it'll give you something. Padma. Okay. How about Padma? Like Padmasana? And then we'll take a break, move on our names, and then we'll be done. Okay, and when we're working on the names, you can practice them on your sheet and then you can share them if you want. So Padma is your pa, and then the D and A. So it's the regular da. And so that's going to blend into your ma. Padma. Now, do they put a little curl on it? I can't tell with my writing. And I don't know that it would be in, oh, they would be in this one. Because you'll have Padmasana, right? Lotus pose. So it's Padma. What he did was he got part of that and ran that down there. Padma. P-A-D. And started the ma from there. Padma. So that was the combining of the D and A. Okay. No more questions? When we write our names, there'll be questions. So I don't know that, I mean, I hope as now you look at the words like Padmasana or Bhujangasana or something like that, that you begin to envision some of the letters of those words and understand how the language changes in the letters. It's not a complicated script once you actually start to just pick it off the page. Pick it off the page, and this is the critical page here. And then if you Google conjunct consonants, there's reams and reams of charts for it, because if there's all these consonants and they have the ability to be blended, then there's so many options. So this is just one little example, but there's many, many pages of examples. So let's just take another little break here, bathroom break, and then we'll come back and play with our names. We'll start with Natasha. Yes, yes, have some for sure. It was so nice of them to send it for our retreat, and I said, well, now our retreat's canceled, and they said, that's okay, you keep it, and we'll send you some more next. When was the return? It was last weekend, yeah. That's okay. That's, yeah, for sure. Enjoy it on the salads. That will, it will be more like my page is now, with the colors or the chakras on it. Okay. It's the same chart, but I think so this one. I'm just gonna. All right. Okay, so we're gonna come back and we're gonna start with Natasha's name because that one's pretty straightforward. So Natasha, do you want to come up and write it? I know that's not what you wanted, but it's an easy one. Now, when you think of your name, do you think of any of them like Natasha? Are any of them long? No, they're all nice. Okay, I have that. Then where do you say you're at? Like Natasha, that will be the back, right? It'll be the. Okay. Okay, love that. Okay, so now. No. Is that right? Okay. Yeah. Just like a shoe with a scale.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just
Take that line right down to the bottom. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that's Natasha. Okay. So we can just move through. So your Terry with a, I guess. Well, those are those ones that'll run together, right? So we'll figure that out. Okay, so what we have to do is look at it phonetically. So it's not, it's how it's said. So Terry, it's not, this is like age. So it's not Terry, right? So it's, I have to keep going through my alphabet. Harry? Is it more like a
area?
oh, like rain, Harry. You think it's like that?
Air.
Right, air. So that's where it gets tricky trying to spell the names, but we can figure this out. So Harry, so Harry. So we're gonna start. Well, I'll get you to write it, but we've got to figure out this part. So if you were thinking of those, it's not a ta, it's not a taru. But it's closer to an E, like Terry, like Nita, Terry, or not an E, a Terry, or I. That's like more like rain.
Right, so that's it.
I want you to help pick.
They don't really have that sound there. Like it almost sounds like Terry. It's almost like Terry, like you said, but they don't really have that sound.
No, it would be
It would be
owl. That's owl. A-U is owl. So it's let's say like A, like Very. That would probably be your closest. It's either the A or the I. You know, more like this one. Okay. So, you want to come up? Sure. Okay. And so you start with your regular ta. Yeah, good way to think of it. Okay. And then to turn it into that, you just put a line above. Put your line above. Yeah, and then let's look at our conjunct consonants and see if they have any R's together. Well, we don't even do you think that you need 2 R's? Okay, so then you can take your ra and turn it into an exact I. Yeah. And then to do your I, yeah, from there, yeah,
Pretty straightforward, isn't it?
yeah. And I'm tempted to just Google. I don't have the internet code here though, and I don't want to stop that. But I'm tempted to Google what an RR would be like, and then you could decide. But I don't have it on this sheet. Okay, there we go with that one. Some more conjunct consonants here. Just see. Sometimes you just don't use those. No RRs. So Terry. Okay, good. Who's next? All right. Okay, well that one should be fun. Okay. All right. Clean my claw. There we go. So I'll erase this out. You got your name, Terry? Did
Yeah,
you?
I think I'm okay.
All right. All right, so write out Patricia, and then we'll have to look at how it gets phonetically. Okay, so pa, when you're going to get the special character tra, and turn into a tree. And then it would be the TRA turned into a TRI. So this is your special character for tra. Yeah, and now we got to turn it into an I. Yeah, so we're a little short of room here. So why don't we'll just cheat and move that over. And you can use that. Yeah. And then put your paw back up here. Oh, but it's all by itself. It doesn't blend in. You just you want me to do another line? Yeah, another line. That's it. Okay, now we got Saturn. And now sha. So that would be one of the S's, because it wouldn't be a C, because that would be a cha-cha. Okay, cha. It's going to be Patricia. So when you say sha, where do you say it? At the side, Patricia, or up here, Patricia? Okay, so then you can use this one. Awesome. Okay. Cool. Yay. So we have to look at things phonetically as opposed to how we say them. Like in English, we say a lot of words like Dylan had love. Okay, so love, it would L-O would be low, like loka, right? So love is more an L-A, right? So if we were writing love, it would be L-A, and then the ba and the halamsa, the A sound off, love. And there's no E sound in there at all in that. But love in Sanskrit is prem or prema. Aham prema, I am love, I'm divine love. Aham prema, it's a mantra. So, prem. Okay. So phonetically, all right, who's next? Should we just go down this way and then Rebecca? Okay, come on up. Anybody here with the same names, they're going to get lucky. Okay, so we'll spell it out and then we have to think of it. And write it. Okay, so the Rebecca, they don't sound the same until they're both E's, right? So do you think that's like
It's just a Ra.
Ra? Yeah, okay, so we can go with your Ra. Rebecca. And then it'll be a regular ba, but we're gonna have to turn it into maybe it's gonna be this one, rather. Okay. And then you add your and now because the C's are not a cha sound, they'll be a ka sound. We use the ka. You're welcome. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Coming on up. All right. Okay. Okay, so we've got the R in the middle there. So it precedes the consonant. Yeah, right. That's good. Okay, so you've got da.
And then would it be that one? Yeah?
Well,
Or would it that one?
yeah, it's probably the
That
norm, the one we would say, because you probably don't put your tongue up in that.
Yeah.
Okay. And now your C is like an S, right?
Yeah. So would I go with the sa?
You're gonna go with the sa and we'll turn it into an I. So do you think it's a long one or a short? Oh, it's gonna be a long one?
Yeah.
What do you think? You think it's a long at the end? No twice as long, Darcy? I think so. Go with that one then. Yeah. So you're gonna go with the sa.
Yeah.
And then I need to do I extend and then go with that? Or do I just bring it over? It's good. Do you want it on that side? Yeah, okay, then you're gonna put it on that side. Or if you're gonna go with the long one, you'll put it on that. So do I extend and bend? For sure. Does that happen? And you bring it right down to the line. Oh, yeah. And then your R has to come. So I and here you put your little R. Yeah. All right. So we're doing our best. I would really, like your names are not Sanskrit names, so I would be cautious about thinking about tattooing them on your arm. But it is a fun way to be able to bring the rules in and how you're going to make the adaptations. Okay, so who's next? You got it? I can erase it. Okay. Oh, you're lucky.
But I did want to question. So, you have this.
As she said it more back. Yeah.
And this is that too.
This
And that's because
so they used to
Okay.
never get to do that.
okay.
Oh. All right, who's next? Jenny? Did we do this in Bakerville? Okay. Well, good, then you get to do how to do this. Well, that's okay. So you would start with your jaw, and then what's the sound? Now you want to change it to that. You wonder how. So just put the line up top, like right beside.
Yeah, or right up top. Yeah, like an extension, yeah. And then na, Jen is gonna change the na to ni. Now, do you think you need two ends? That's an easy one to blend together, Jen. I think you should do that.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll take your first part of your end, but drop the line. Like that. Yeah, and then now write another end and blend that in, the full end. Yeah. Got it? And now what about the I? And is it a long or a short one? It's more,
It would be more than
long. Like
More
Ida,
than Ida.
Ida,
yeah.
generally, so it's gonna be like that. So if you wanted the long one, then you put it on this side, like that.
So this goes.
Yeah, take it right from the top of that hand and down. Yeah, I would put it at the hold right hand side. I got it right. Yeah. So you got your double N in there. I'll have to look for RR for.
Awesome, okay. Cool. All right, we've got, sorry, yeah, come on up. Amber. Okay, Amber's got some blended letters here. Okay, great. You work there. Okay, A-M-B-E-R-N. Okay, that'll be fun. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll start with your and so probably a short one, right? Okay, and now your M, you're going to blend into your B. So you're not even going to hear the E part, right? So you'll write half your M, not this line, and then run that line into this. And leave some space because we're going to figure out where we're going. Yeah, and then that's going to blend into this circle of your B. Yeah. And now we've got to deal with your R, and it is a verb. I think it's just ER is what we're doing. ER. And so the R follows the consonant. And then, so it's probably going to be that line down there. Yeah. Yeah. And then I think you have to take the rest of the vowel off. Amber.
And then I drop that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's your M going into your B where you're taking the A off, and that's your R.
Thank you.
Well, that one was complicated. Okay, so if you didn't get to see all that. So here's the and then the M. Put that down. The first part of the M, and then the ba, the verb ba, and then we really don't hear the E at all. It's this amber. So here's the R, and we took the vowel off at the end. So that's her complicated. It's very pretty.
So you take the vowel off at the end.
Yeah, because it ends with R but not Ra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I mean, I'm really making this up because these are not Sanskrit names, right? So I'm using the rules I know, but it's not that easy when they're not Sanskrit names. If your name was Saraswati, well, that would be easy. Okay. But it's a good practice to bring the rules into your mind. And we'll do the best with the sounds that we have. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. So it's Ra, but it's going to become Ro, right? Yeah. So you start with the Ra. Okay. So this is how you may turn it into an O. So you'll write your Ra, and then you'll add this line. And then you'll add a line.
Does it go off the center?
It just goes right beside
Oh,
it.
beside it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the line goes all the way down. Yeah, so that's all the way down to the bottom. Yeah, row. Okay. So now your SM blend together, rosemary, right? So it's a regular S. So you're going to take the first part of it. You'll drop the line. Almost like you're
and na. Before blending that one, yeah. Right, and now we have R, Mary. Okay, so the Y it's not said as a ya, so three. Yeah, why not? I think that's perfect. Yeah. Pick which one you want.
What's the difference?
Well, this is like that cognizant. It's just something.
What do you want your name to be today?
So in the meantime, you could be practicing what you think your name is on your paper. And then when you come up, you can write it on. Well, that's fancy, isn't it? He goes with it. Very nice. There we go. Cool. So rose and the S went right into the M. Rosemary. Rosemary. Okay. There we go. You're very welcome. So, do you want me to erase this? Is that taller for you? Okay, so the first question in Jennifer's, what are we going to do with an F?
I was wondering.
But we'll start with this. So, yeah, how would we want to, which sound do you think is we can default in this? Sound. So we would default in that. This would be Jennifer, so it's not that. It's not Jennifer. Yep, that's what you do. It's like when you're in England or something, the way they say things, they don't say it the same way we do. We don't have precisely the same sound, so we default to that. Okay. Giant, that would be that, just with one, I think. Yeah, just with, okay. And now you can do your double N if you want. So you do the first half of the N, drop the line, and then the full N that is printed into. So I would start with this. Yeah, and then now do the whole one, blending it right into that. Yeah, just like that. Yeah. We gotta find the double line. Okay, and so this is a gender. So first we've got to add this on to turn the na into an I. You'd start at the top of this and bring it all the way down. Yeah, all the way down to the bottom. There, yeah. Gender. And now. That's cool. And then how do we do the first?
Yeah.
Like, oh, gee, that would be all right, wouldn't it? Yeah. Because you're so very, this would be Jennifer. Jennifer. I think that's about the closest we would get. So. Oh, yes, there is. Put your va, and we're gonna put the R. So the R is following the consonant. I would put in the line there, and then take off the vowel. So you do this harmless. And that means it doesn't end in a Jennifer. It just ends in the R, Jennifer. Just this little line. Right there. Oh, like that. Oh, and that says there's no vowels.
All right, well, thanks to Dylan for the box. Okay, all right, so here's what we've ended up with Jennifer. Because there's no F, right? So we've got the ja, and we changed it into this, Jennifer. And then we gave her the two N's, but one blending into the next, and turned it into the I, Janet. And then there's no F, so we went with V. So, and it's just like a VR, because you don't hear the C. So we put the R here and took the last vowel off with the halanta. Jennifer. So, it's complicated, but it does. It looks great. It's really cool. All right, so who's next there? Sean? No. Come on up. Okay. So this is also helpful when you come up with ideas for their names. It's okay, Caitlin. All right. So you got to start with a ta.
And this is like rain, right? Rain. So okay, I think that might be the one there. Okay. So you go with your ta. Oh wait, no, K. Where do we go? This is K kai. No, this is the one K. Like that. So what? Just put your line on top. Okay. Now TL blends together.
Okay.
Okay. So you'll take your regular ta, but do it just to the first half of it. Don't do the line. Yeah. And now you're going to blend that into your la. So when it goes, this ta line will blend right into, will connect to that. Yeah. Yeah, and then put your line up there. The rest of your la.
And then I'm connecting.
Yeah. And now we have to turn that la into a nin. Nin. So, is it long or short? Nin. Okay, so then you'll have to sneak that line in on there between the ka and the so yeah, all the way down. And then a regular N, like a na, and then you'll take the A off of it with that. Regular na. That one was easier than I thought.
Yeah.
Here's your halanta to remove the last A. There you go. That wasn't bad.
Okay, so we've got the ka turned into the K. And then this is T running into la, take la, and turned into li. And then this is the N, which would be na, but now it's just, we take the A off, so take lin. Okay? All right, Shauna. We're almost there. Then you get to go home. You're welcome. Okay. Yeah, Yeah, so where do you say your S? And you say Shauna.
At the front, okay. Yeah. Sha, oh, sha. This one is in the back. Sha, sha, sha. And this is another sha. Yeah, okay. Well, yours is an easy
I know it's
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then na. Now, is this a long A?
Well, I
Shana?
think you might be long.
I think
I
it's a
should
long
make
A.
it long.
Yeah, you better make, I think it's a long A.
And then I think I might make the second A long too. No. No, not.
Okay. See, now we're even thinking about is it a long vowel or a short vowel? So that's, pretty cool. Awesome. Oh, that's easy.
All right. And so who else do we have back there beside you, Shauna? Okay. I'll erase some here. Here we go. No fear. No, that's okay. Karen, yeah, okay, so if you write it up there, so that's, I don't think that one's gonna be as bad.
Yeah, that's where I got stuck. So.
Okay, so ka. Or is it going to be more like this? Okay. Karen or ka? Okay, go with the ka. All right. And now you've got a ra. So we would turn the ra into like red and red. Yeah, so I would go to ra and turn it into the ka, and then the end will take the a off. So you would just write your ra. Fishing hook in the line, yeah. And then we're going to turn it into this. That's the closest we can get. So you just put that little line on top of the R. Just no, just this little line. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then now we'll do the na. It's a regular na. Yeah, but we'll take the A off of once you've done it. Okay, and this is, then you put the halanta just as low up here to take the A off. And I'm just going to shorten it so we don't think it's a T. There. Okay, all right. That wasn't so bad.
It wasn't so bad.
It wasn't back there.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is where we have an R in the middle of the word, and we can actually use the R because it's got a vowel after it, right? So this is her ka for Karen, ka. And then this is the ra turned into an E, Karen. And this is the N with the A taken off, just with our halanta, Karen. Okay, so we could have gone with maybe Karen, but we decided to go with the Karen. Okay, that's the closest we could get. All right, not so bad. Okay, come on up. I think we've had a Jessica. So. Oh, just leave it there. Okay. I'll practice about it. On this is the easiest way using cloth and the sanitizer.
We're all being taught that, hey?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so she's turned it to the E. All right, a double pass. Oops, that was wrong. I think there's an eraser right there. Right? Yeah, because you want to go to the yeah, and then cut. There you go. Yeah. Cool.
All right, that was quick. Okay, next up. This is the biggest group of writing names. But you know what's good about it though, is you are really seeing how you change the letters, because we're coming with like all kinds of different directions with names. Mary. Okay, Sean.
So where do you say your S? Okay, so more back. Yeah, okay, so then you use this one. Oh, really? Well, you can use this one if you want. I think it's this one. Yeah. I would say it with that one. Okay. And then, so you'll do, is it a long shun? No, and then a double N. So with your double N, you'll put the first half without the line, and then a full one that it blends into. Yeah. Now, Shannon. Okay. Okay. No, that's boo. Shannon. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then it's Shannon. And yet, Shannon, yeah, you need another N without the Shannon. Yeah, without the vowel on the end. So you use your halat. Just a line at the bottom. That's a lot of N's. Yeah. Shannon. Yeah. Good. Great. Okay.
What did you have? What did you do differently other than the S?
Oh, I chose the SHA one.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay.
But that's it.
Okay, cool. Okay, here we are. Stacy's on the Zoom. Yeah, we got, Stacy's not there right now, though. When she comes,
Oh, she's hiding.
she's somewhere, and when she comes back, we'll get her suggestion. She's gonna write there. Okay.
All right. Well, I wrote it 3 times and I'm still confused. So need your help.
Oh, right, you got that. One N. Okay, this will be interesting.
So I wrote it, and then I wrote it again, combining the R's.
Okay, how did you combine your R's?
And then I wrote it a 3rd time, changing the A to an O, because you don't pronounce it as an A, right?
Yeah, it's not one.
So-
Okay, I would go with the
But
O.
we changed this to an O.
Okay.
This is what I did, and you can tell me if I
Okay.
got close or not. So this is our W. It
Sorry,
really
I'm
doesn't
standing.
require much tweaking.
Oh, just gets a line. It's like in Spanish in Mexico, they absolutely can't say W's.
Yeah.
Like to tell us about the wall in the back, it's like, wall.
Yeah.
They can't say it. So I'm sure it's the same thing with.
So if you have 2 R's, just put a little squiggle at the top. But I'm changing this R with that, and possibly with that. I'm not sure about that.
No, you can't do that in the middle.
You Googled.
Oh, did you?
Well, and I think I copied it. Okay, Mary Googled.
Okay,
And
cool.
this is what she got.
which is totally different than.
Oh, like that's the R agree.
Oh, yeah.
Which is perfect. You can have that. You can
Oh.
use that if you want.
That's what they use there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's perfect. You can, because somebody else used the R dot under. Okay, so what have we got here? We've got one. Okay. Okay, and this ren sound. Yeah, so which is this part? Oh, that's to turn it into the E. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So that gives it the E,
Yeah, that gives it the other R,
and then this is the second R.
the second R, which
That
is
changes
followed.
the WA to WO, and then this is sort of the A at the end.
Awesome, I love it. That's great.
Pretty close.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me.
Close enough.
Yeah, that was perfect. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, who we got now? Come on. That's really great. Like, that's really thinking.
Press the charm.
I got stuck on the RR, thinking they had to be combined and forgetting the other rule of the R following consonants. So there you go. Preceding a consonant. Okay, no, all of these, sorry. Love it. Okay. I feel like I hit the jackpot. Oh my God.
So I should be able to do.
Well, come on, Jen is short for something.
And then that makes it A. And then, so it's gonna also this one here.
Yeah, that would make it more like ending.
Okay.
Yeah, so you would probably
So
end
it would
with
be
this
the
and
end.
with the hello.
Well, my lines seem to go like that.
That's okay.
You're short for Jen.
Yeah.
I've got away with that.
Yeah, and you're great. Perfect. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Next up. That was a nice easy one. All right. And then I wasn't sure about making the M going with the I with the consonant and vowel. It would be with an I sound, but do I make it like this? And then not do the line? No, you would use, okay, so we have because we're going with the A kagrava, right? A, okay, so A, and then me, so it's gonna be like this, me, like Ida, right? So you'll turn your M into a me. You won't even have a Y involved. So Amy, is it a short one? Probably. Okay, so then you would go from the top of your M and bring that line down from the second line of your M. From here. Yeah, and right down between. Yeah. Amy. That's perfect. Great that you got that exactly. Except we've got it going the wrong way. Oh, the wrong way. That's it. Great. Excellent. You're welcome. Okay. Amy. So in Amy, we didn't even worry about the ya because it doesn't exist. It just came in AMI. Okay.
And what was that first? I can't read that part.
Well, A, she instead of using she used A. The vowel A. Amy. That was a good jump. Okay, who's next? No. Okay.
So to spell it like this.
Yeah.
See, so you wrote it out phonetically, so then now you can translate the phonetic sound of it as opposed to Jalan. Jalan. Okay, okay.
And would you change the A to an O for like phonetic?
Dylan. I would say more Dylan, to be honest.
Fill in.
Fill in, yeah, how do you say it? Fill in,
Yeah.
okay. So, yeah,
That was
so
it.
fill in, yeah. So that's what I would write it as. Nice.
There's a lead now. Don't say A.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a short R.
yeah, I think it's a short I. Okay.
I was gonna do lazy.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Hoping that we do this.
Uh-huh.
And then we do another one.
So it's gonna be another one back, yeah.
Space Force.
And then your line. Salante.
Boom.
Go, cool. No. Yeah. Okay, who's next? All right. Ray, yours should be easy when you come on. Okay, how are you gonna do, DJ?
I'm gonna do my real.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna play fair. I'm gonna play fair.
Okay.
I know. I just thought it, actually I think that might be harder.
Job, DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's try this.
So, we've got this thought.
Ah. Exactly.
Barb.
Yeah, that's Barb. Exactly.
Barba. It's Barba.
Barba. And then
Let me DJ.
that's it.
You gotta be DJ.
Okay, so you want to try BJ? Okay. So I think of bija, right? So you'll turn that into whatever you think. Is it a short BJ or a long? I think it's long.
Yeah.
So you write your va and then put that on. And then ja. This was would be your B, so that's your B. And then
the long.
Choose the.
yeah. Oh, okay, all right, okay. And then ja, and the sound is J, so you'll change it to this.
So
Just the line on top after your ja. There you go. Drum roll. Thank you. Okay, Ray. Where's Ray? Cool. Yeah, you do too. Well, Ray would become phonetically, so R-A. So we just change your Ra to Ray. So you have E, said like E, Ray. That's it. Okay. down and, okay, and I'm gonna do the line. Well, you don't need the Y at all. But you could. So this is one shape. And notice they sometimes more like I. But you could, yeah, you really only need that. No, you don't even need all that. So that's my cup. So all you need is this line on top of your R. So this is just with the cup, but all you need is that line. That's it for Ray. Yeah. So it's like Rechaka, right? That's it, Ray. Yeah.
I way overthought it. I was like, oh, I didn't.
No, it's just the phonetic. So that's great. Okay. All right. Okay. What we got left here? Here we go. Well, we'll find out. It's good that you've been practicing writing on your own before you come up, because then you get a sense of it. Okay. And do you say it Jordan or Jordan? Jordan. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, turn it into an O, yeah. You gotta have this little line still as well. Yeah. And then you're no, you don't need that, because this represents that right here. It turns your A to an O, Joe. And now your R is going to go on top of your D. So you'll do your D first. Right, so yep, just right there. No, right, it's going to go right up there. But the other way, like a real R. Okay, there you go. Yeah, and now you need an N. And if you want to do the double N, then you would do your first half. Yeah. And then take the A off. No, right at the very end of your N. No, you don't need that line. Okay, just no, that's okay. So this is Jordan. So we want to take the A off. Take the A off, just put the little line there. That's it. It looks great. All right.
Did not get that.
But you put in the O, and you didn't need it because we changed the ja to Jo, and that's your R, your down. There you go. Good job. Okay. All right. So, by going through the process of writing out your names, even though they weren't Sanskrit words, was that helpful for bringing the rules into place? Okay. So now you could take a Sanskrit word, which
will be like 10 times easier. And be able to write it out much, you know, because the real words of these letters are made for the Sanskrit words. And then the rules will be much easier to apply. And this is great because we had so many different names, you know, that we had the opportunity to really flow through that. So I just wanted to take 1 second here. And I have this wonderful friend in Calgary. His wife took our teacher training, and they're both East Indian, and he loves Sanskrit. So we have Sanskrit conversations all the time. And he gave me this little chart, and you'll have to come up and look at it after, but it shows all the places of the tongue, starting with one at the back for like the guttural, like ka, right? And then how the tongue moves forward, or the sounds move forward all the way to the lips, like, right? So it was a really interesting little chart. So we have all these questions back and forth about how to write something in Sanskrit. And I appreciate his attention on that. And we found, the two of us have found a really cool online Sanskrit course. We investigated a lot back and forth. And the one, I think it costs something like $20. And it's a whole like ton of lessons in the PDF format, like many, many lessons that you can work through the Sanskrit. So if any of you are interested in learning a bit more about Sanskrit, then I can always send you the link to that one, because we've looked at lots of them, and because he has the background in the language as well, because he studied it at school, he said this one of all of them that we've come up with was the best.
Would you be able to put that link up?
Yeah. So I'll put the Sanskrit link, and there was something else I was going to share. Oh, the charts. I'll do the charts too. So do you have any more questions? Like when you see a Sanskrit word now, when you're chanting or you're looking at it, like you have a sense, bhujangasana, right? K is always ka, right? And cha is always cha, like chamundaye, right? Om, Aim, Hrim, Klim, Chamundaye, Viche Namaha. So now we can kind of get that pida, pingala, with the I sound. Any wondering, Lakshmi, now there's the K-S-H-M-I, big blend there, right? Lakshmi. So the blending of the letters. Any last questions, thoughts?
So the consonants together, like that's just kind of.
The conjunct consonants, or, yeah. It's just, the main thing you can't do is you can't use a halanta in the middle of a word to take a vowel off. They have to blend the consonants together, like the double N's. Or I love how you figured out the R. That was just so right on. Because R's are different. They have their own two rules there. So yeah, the blended consonants or conjunct, yeah, these are the contracted vowels, how to change your vowel forms, and conjunct consonants. And if you just Google conjunct consonants, you'll get a ton of little graphic charts that come up. You could probably go deeper, but because there's so many letters, it might just be, what am I looking for? And then like you could specifically look at the word that you're looking for. How do I write this? And I really enjoy doing that. Like, how do I write this word in Sanskrit with the proper Sanskrit? And then it's so beautiful because we have so much available for us on the Google. And then sometimes when you Google chants, like we have our mantras that we've written out in the manual, but then what is that? How do you see that mantra in the Sanskrit? And there's so many of the chants on YouTube that are sung by Indians that they always put the script right there for you. So you can see the script of the, Ganesha Gayatri or whatever. So it, and then you get really familiar with it. Certain letters like M's will really stick out for me because they're used so much. And that one is used a lot. And is used a lot because what they do is when they're chanting for Lakshmi will become Lakshmi Ye, right? And Saraswati Ye, Durga Ye. So Ya is used a lot in the Sanskrit language, but some letters not so much. But then in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, if you look at the Sanskrit in the book here, but it's the THA dot under Hatha Yoga. So, and so when you find you're looking at asana names, Padmasana, you could even practice, how do I write that out, right? Padmasana, if you want to write it out in the script, or Bhujangasana. Then you get familiar with your diacritical marks. Is it a long A? Which S is it, right? And but it helps you to know how to pronounce it. And I used to be really intimidated, like I always said Hatha Yoga because that was my English pronunciation, Hatha Yoga. And then after, going into the training and hearing Swami Vishnu all the time, like, oh, okay, maybe I'll say Hatha Yoga. And nobody says Hatha Yoga, but now I say Hatha Yoga because it's Hatha Yoga, and the tongue goes up there, and I feel fine with Hatha Yoga. It feels more natural to me now than Hatha Yoga. And it doesn't matter which way you want to say it, everybody's going to understand what you're saying. And I'm sure if Dr. Ananda watched this recording, he'd go, oh my God, her Sanskrit's so terrible. He'd be laughing the whole time. Yeah, but at least he'd know I try, And it is such a beautiful language. And there are just some sounds like to delineate between the four N's and all of that. I'm just not going to have that in this lifetime, so I'm just do my best. But the ones to really look at, and I've started this list, and in the next manual I think I'll have it, is your S's, because there's so many books without the diacritical marks. We don't know how to say Saucha, Sushumna, which S's are it, right? And so we're winging it with the S's. And so you can figure out whether it's an SH or just an S sound by Googling and making a list of what they are. So I'm starting to just make a list of the diacritical marks of my S's. Shitali, it's an SH, Shitali, and Sitkari. And so just getting that list so I know where my SHs should be and not be. Because that's the most common one that we get confused with. Okay. Well, if we don't have any more questions, maybe we should close with an arati. How are you doing your arati? You light it and people come up to the light and. Okay, great. Okay. Stand a little further, sure. Okay. Oh, right. Sounds good. All right, so we can make a big circle, and I will stop this recording. And we lost Stacy. We should have written her name for her.